Good morning to all. My topic is economic welfare of unorganized workers. Street vendors in the pandemic period of Nagarkoil city, Kanyakumari district. Abstract. Economics is not a subject. It's based on the people's health, wealth, welfare and country's standard of living. But nowadays, many of them are articulated economics is a topic. One country's happiness depends upon the state's economic status. The pandemic period is affecting all aspects of life, including education, healthcare, business, the economy, and social life completely. This paper refers to the welfare of unorganized workers, especially in street vendors in Nagarkoil city, and takes most steps towards the government. The Indian government introduced cashless based health insurance policy for street vendors. How they benefit from this policy? Introduction. Country's welfare depends upon their own people's health and education. They satisfy health and education that country's economic welfare is automatically good. All governments split into two categories of workers, organized and unorganized. Maximum number of organized workers are educated, but most of the country's unorganized workers are uneducated. Because of their poverty and unskilled, Indian government takes a lot of steps to protect the unorganized workers, especially in the street vendors. All the human beings, unexpected expenditure is hospitalization. Maximum number of people are not aware of the health insurance policy schemes. Not only unorganized workers, organized workers as well, because they are not ready to spend their time in this work. Indian government introduced most of the health insurance policy to street vendors, especially the cashless based health insurance policy. Objectives. To know about education of street vendors in Nagarkoil city, to know about health issues in Nagarkoil city street vendors in the pandemic period, economic illness and awareness of cashless health insurance policy for the street vendors during the pandemic period in the Nagarkoil city. Methodology. Researcher based this study on the primary data and secondary data collected through a questionnaire from the respondents in the Nagarkoil city. The sampling area covers in and around Ramanputtur. Sample size for the study is 109 respondents. Disproportionate sampling technique has been used to select the sample units for the study. Data are analyzed using ANOVA test to fulfill the objectives. Overview of cashless based health insurance policy for street vendors. India 2001 census. 42 lakhs of street vendors are working. Maximum street vendor standard of living is below poverty line. So Indian government takes more steps to protect the street vendors in various schemes, especially in cashless based health insurance policy. Union Cabinet approved this policy scheme, approved the proposal of Ministry of Labour and Employment for extending RSBY up to street vendors. The government proposed to cover all registered street vendors under RSBY 2013-14, out of which 4.21 lakh proposed to be covered in the 2013-2014 financial year. The central and state governments will pay the premium for the insurance scheme in the ratio of 75:25. For northeastern states and Jammu and Kashmir, they would share the expenditure in the ratio of 90:10. The total expenditure by the central government during the current year will be around rupees 20 crore. The recurring expenditure after 2013-14 will be around rupees 200 crores annually. In it entitled beneficiary under RSBY to cover of up to rupees 30,000 for most diseases that require hospitalization. The cover extends to 5 members of the family, which includes the head of the household, spouse, and up to 3 dependents. According to the Labour and Employment Ministry, 15th October 2014, 27 states were implementing the scheme. The government operationalized the scheme in 24 states with cover 1.9 crore smart cards have been issued to cover 7 crore person. Economic illness and awareness of the cashless health insurance policy for street vendors during the pandemic period in Nagarkovil city. Most of the unorganized workers are economically affected in the pandemic period. In the Nagarkovil city, most of the street vendors are below poverty line. They are all depending on their street vending jobs. Now in this period, they are not tolerant to all the difficulties. Most of the street vendors are ready to supply the goods to coronavirus affected place also because they want to survive. Researchers' own experience in the Nagarkovil city, most of the street vendors' life is not good, especially the pandemic period. They are not having a saving as well as safety. Nowadays, insurance policy play a vital role in developed and developing countries. Indian government says each and every person need a medical insurance, especially the street vendors. The government proposed to cover all the registered street vendors under Rashtriya Swadis Bima Yojana (RSBY). This insurance policy operationalized in 24 states in all over India. Nagarkovil city having a 480 registered street vendors. Most of the street vendors are school returns, but more than 1,000 street vendors are vending business. Many of the street vendors are unregistered because of lack of time and awareness. Nobody having awareness of the cashless health insurance policy. Findings in this study, majority 30.19% of the respondents are belong to the age group between 41 to 55. On the other hand, 2.75% of them belong to the age group below 18 years group. In this study, majority 85 of the respondents are male and 24 of the respondents are female. In this study, majority 79.83% of respondents are completing their schooling. 0% of the respondents are illiterate. Majority of the respondents are facing the health issues. 93.57% respondents are having a joint pains. In this study, 100% of respondents don't know the cashless based health insurance policy from the government scheme. In this study, 100% of respondents are economically affected in the pandemic period. Suggestions. Finance is the one of their major issue with which business has to move on. So banks can reduce its some procedures on loans and also offer feasible interest rate to these vendors. The skills of the street vendors must be improved so that it could be easy for him to return his business efficiently and land good profit for his family survival. Lack of basic facilities lead to health issues for the street vendors. Conclusion. The street vendors must be enlightened with awareness programs has to organized by municipality about the laws that protect them and the organization that contribute the betterment of the street vendors and also guides them to succeed in their business. Also, they should aware the health policies and funds available and funding agencies that contribute positive strength to the street vendors. Thank you.